Well, jurors will soon decide the fate of a former Marine in a case that has polarized New York City and the nation. Closing arguments will be held Monday in the New York subway chokehold trial of Daniel Penny, and the jurors will then be handed the case. Penny is accused of killing another subway passenger, a homeless man named Jordan Neely, when he placed him in a chokehold for about 6 minutes on board a city subway train. But Penny says he was just trying to protect himself and other subway passengers after Neely allegedly began a threatening rant on the train. Now, Neely had a long criminal rap sheet, a history of mental illness, a genetic sickle cell condition. He also struggled with drugs, had K2, which is a synthetic marijuana in his system when he died. And a combination of factors like that, key witness for the defense said that is what caused his death. A forensic pathologist said that contributed to Neely's death. Prosecutors say the former Marine, he was solely responsible for Neely's death. The city's medical examiner testified that his chokehold killed Neely and that there was no other reasonable explanation for his death. And the case has raised issues of racial and social injustice in the court of public opinion. But in the New York City courtroom, where it is being argued, jurors will have to decide whether prosecutors proved beyond a reasonable doubt whether Penny's chokehold caused Neely's death, and if so, whether that was legally justified. So let's go to our legal panel right now to talk more about this. It's weird being on the other side of this. I've been talking about this case since the beginning, but I'm joined by former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani and Joshua Ritter, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor and host of the Courtroom Confidential podcast. Great to have you both here. Nima, I'll start with you. You think the prosecution made their case because from witnesses saying they were in genuine fear for their lives to a defense expert saying Penny's hold wasn't the cause of death, there were times that I was wondering, why was this case even brought? What do you think?
Jesse, I'm as pro-prosecution as they come, but this is a very difficult case for the state. Like you said, strong self-defense argument, a very sympathetic defendant. You have witnesses who are testifying that they were in fear of their lives. I think really the only chance the state has is that 5 to 6 minutes where it was clear that Neely was no longer a threat. He's not resisting. Essentially, the argument is that Penny went too far. You can defend people, you can restrain someone, but essentially, this is the argument. Again, I'm not saying it's going to carry the day. This is a Derek Chauvin, George Floyd situation where really it's that 8 minutes, that 6 minutes. But I don't think the defense is going to win on causation. It's clear that, in my opinion, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, Penny caused Neely's death. The question is, was he acting in self-defense of others? And I can easily see this being an acquittal or a hung jury.
Yeah, Josh, I'm curious your perspective on it, because I thought the same thing in the sense, out of all times for the sickle cell, the K2, all these different factors to kill him, and not believing it was the chokehold, that might be a stretch. But because when you look at the defense, holding the chokehold for so long, testimony that he was taught not to apply that move like that, the testimony of the state medical examiner, is it too much for the defense to overcome?
I don't think so. I'm going to jump on board with the both of you. I think this was a difficult case for the prosecution to begin with. And I'll even add to that. The prosecution conceded that there was a threat. The prosecution conceded that he responded reasonably. Where they find the crime was committed was that he just held him too long. He held him for 5 to 6 minutes, but it's not even the 5 to 6 minutes they have a problem with. It's the last 1 to 2 minutes that they felt was too long. And in that 1 to 2 minutes, they believe that that's what led to his death. And in those 1 to 2 minutes, he was being unreasonable and therefore now what? Responsible for manslaughter? I just think that's going to be a very difficult argument to make with jurors.
And I will tell you, though, from the prosecution's advantage, they have two different theories to find him guilty, whether it's manslaughter, so a recklessness standard, or criminally negligent homicide, which is a negligence standard. So two different theories by which the jury could ultimately convict him. It's not saying that he intended to kill Jordan Neely. But Nima, something I wanted to ask you is that jurors were shown video of Penny's police interrogation. I've been struggling to see if that was relevant. He said he didn't mean to kill Neely. They put it in for a reason. What was that reason? How relevant was it for the prosecution's case?
And that actually potentially helped the defense, because here's someone who basically got at his whole story through that police interrogation. And normally in self-defense cases, the conventional wisdom is the defendant needs to take the stand, testify, be subject to a rigorous cross-examination. But when the state puts in this video in their case in chief, it's potentially a problem unless it is a very good video for the state. And I don't think it was. So I sort of question how this case was handled as well.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.